Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to this latest QGate webinar, where our focus is on Microsoft Copilot, which has been recently announced as the artificial intelligence feature from Microsoft. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Josh Daliwa, and I am your main host on this webinar today. I'm kindly joined by my colleague Yasmin Cooper, who will be keeping an eye on the chat for your questions. Yas, do you want to say a quick hello?
Hi everyone. I'm Yasmin. I'm the marketing executive, and as Josh said, I'll be keeping an eye on the Q&A throughout the webinar. So if you have any questions or thoughts, feel free to pop them in the Q&A, and we'll go through them.
And any feedback is much appreciated. It's worthwhile mentioning that this webinar is being recorded, so please don't worry about making notes. We will be making a copy of the video available on our website and YouTube channel, hopefully by the end of this week. And everyone who's registered will receive an email notifying you that it is up and available, and a link to the recording. If you are watching this as a recording and you have any questions, then please feel free to use my contact details that you see on the screen to contact me directly. Now, I notice that most of the names of registrants on this webinar are new to QGate so far. So for everyone's benefit, QGate is an operational efficiency and CRM consultancy that specializes in the use of Dynamics 365 and Power Apps to help solve our clients' business problems. We believe that technology should work for you and not the other way around. We're passionate about helping businesses streamline their processes and improve their customer relationships through the power of business process automation and CRM. And our goal is to empower our clients to focus on what they do best, which is running their businesses as opposed to worrying about technology. And we typically work with business owners, heads of operations, or IT managers in small to medium-sized businesses. And they typically tell us that they're either scared of being left behind by digital developments and are unable to scale their businesses with the systems that they currently have, or they're annoyed at how difficult it is to extract any kind of meaningful data from their businesses on which to make decisions, because it's all locked up in multiple spreadsheets or multiple legacy systems, or that they worry that they will lose customers because their processes are too cumbersome and manual, and they lack automation and workflows, which ultimately should give them efficiency. And we see it as part of our role as a trusted partner to educate, to inform and inspire our clients on the latest technologies available, hence us talking about AI today. And part of our role is to demystify and decipher many new developments, because I'm sure you're all very busy and to help you understand the practicalities of how they can impact your businesses. Okay, so why are we talking about AI today? I guess if you'd have mentioned AI to most people, including me, at any time beyond this last year, I think the one thing that came to mind for me is supercomputers. And when I hear supercomputers, I think back to the mid 1990s and IBM and Deep Blue, which was a chess playing machine that beat the world chess champion and grandmaster Garry Kasparov at the time. But kind of fast forward 25 years, and we see the explosion of ChatGPT, which reached something like a million users in just 5 days, shortly after it was launched in November last year. And it currently sits just outside the top 20 most visited websites in the world, just behind LinkedIn and Netflix, with just over 1.5 billion visits per month. And yet, based on a poll that my colleague Yaz ran on LinkedIn recently. Something like 83% of respondents to that survey or that poll still felt that they had very little idea about how they could be using AI in their businesses. Okay, so again, coming back to we see it as our role is to be able to kind of decipher and demystify and look at how practically technologies can help our clients. So before I get started, I want to pose a quick question to you, the audience, and I want to kind of find out how many of you are currently using ChatGPT or similar technologies in your work or in your personal lives. I know I use it. I know I use ChatGPT in both, whether it be for helping me script an email to my daughter's school on a sensitive matter, to researching blog posts, rewriting emails or texts that I want to summarize or make, more formal or informal. So I want to get your thoughts. I know that, again, if I go onto my LinkedIn, it would appear that overnight everyone has become an AI expert. But I want to know practically, how is it helping you? And equally, if you're not using it, please let Yaz know, and hopefully we'll get round to reading some of those responses from you towards the end of this call. And if you're not already familiar with Microsoft Teams, you'll find the chat and QA icons on the main toolbar. Okay, right. So since we're here to talk about Microsoft Copilot, Copilot was announced in March this year and is essentially an artificial intelligent assistant built with ChatGPT version 4 for Microsoft's 365 suite of applications. And that includes Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Teams, OneNote, and also Dynamics 365 CRM product range. There has only been a very soft launch of Copilot to date, with what started as 20 or so businesses, but we know that was recently expanded to 600 companies, which is still obviously only a tiny fraction of those that are part of the Microsoft universe. But we're expecting to see a launch before the end of the year, and some people are already even talking about that launch happening next month. Okay, now Copilot is being marketed as an added feature to Microsoft 365 with an emphasis on productivity. So with the use of Copilot, Microsoft emphasizes the promotion of users' creativity and productivity by having AI do more of the tedious work, like collecting information, researching, referencing, rewriting, and also replying. Now, before I go into what that means practically, one of the things that Microsoft talks a lot about in the current economic climate is about doing more with less. And there are lots of interpretations of this, but the one that I feel kind of encapsulates the real essence of doing more with less is about kind of freeing your people up, your employees, your team members, to do the things that a machine or a piece of software can't do today, unassisted. I know we have a few people from recruitment businesses on the webinar today, and recruitment is particularly one of those very manual heavy and time intensive businesses where there is a large amount of unstructured data in the form of emails, covering letters, CVs. And since working at QGate and beginning to understand some of the issues that recruiters face, I think I have a newfound respect. I see jobs posted on LinkedIn with sometimes 300 to 400 applications, and you realize that's a huge amount of work that somebody has to manually sometimes sift through. And today, AI allows you to use cross-referencing and match keywords in applications with job descriptions. So freeing up time for your employees to spend more time on being creative, building relationships and trust with your clients. And Microsoft talks about this as humans being hardwired to innovate and create, as opposed to sap or zap, as they call it, time, creativity, and energy. And before I leave this slide, there is a whole webinar, and if I'm right, a blog post that we've dedicated to recruitment and automation, which we'd be happy to share with you if you're interested. Just please ping me or Yasmin a message, and we can send you the link to that. Okay, so right, obviously ChatGPT, some of you may already be familiar with. Microsoft Copilot probably less so. So what is the difference? ChatGPT and Microsoft 365 Copilot are both artificial intelligence technologies that were developed with the intent of helping you accomplish tasks and activities faster and more efficiently. While they may seem similar, there are significant differences between the two. ChatGPT works like a chatbot if you used it, and it was designed to hold a conversation with you. After giving it a question or prompt, ChatGPT uses machine learning algorithms to understand the context of the conversation and generate the appropriate responses. So to produce a response, it predicts the next word in a given sequence based on patterns it's learned from human language. The more details you provide it with, the more precise your answers, more precise the answers ChatGPT can offer. You can ask it to compose essays, write emails, and cover letters. It can create lists for you. It can summarize content. It can create poems and lyrics. It can help you build your CV. Unlike a search engine, ChatGPT does not have the ability to search the internet and may not have the most up-to-date information to draw from. If you want to test that, simply go to ChatGPT and ask it who the current UK Prime Minister is, and that'll give you the answer. So to how up-to-date that content is and whether it's been accessed via the internet or not. And this obviously can leave room for error within its responses. So it's important for you to review and edit the information that ChatGPT provides, okay, as with most kind of chat-based AI tools, okay. Microsoft 365 Copilot aims to provide personalized assistance to users for a range of tasks and activities, and Copilot doesn't just connect ChatGPT with Microsoft 365 software, it combines the power of AI with your data. So that includes your calendar, your emails, your chats, your documents, your meetings, and the Microsoft 365 apps. It resides inside those applications, and we will actively look to make suggestions on improvements on what you're composing. Okay. So what will Copilot help you do? And I'm going to kind of look at a few examples here. Okay. Again, you don't have to frantically be making notes on what you see on the screen in front of you. This is all going to be included in the video that we send across to you. But just really to kind of summarize some of the key things, take Word, for example. Users will be able to ask Copilot to create content based on a specific topic by asking it a question, okay? Or ask it to generate content that's based on data that's available in another document. Okay, you'll be able to ask it to edit or rewrite content. Now, if you can recall, just a few minutes ago, I gave an example of one of the things I use ChatGPT to do, which is to sanity check some copy for a presentation or for a blog. You can highlight a paragraph or sentence and ask it to suggest rewrites. You can ask it to make it more formal or less formal, or light-hearted, or make amendments in line with your business values or your business principles. And want to know what that feels like, try copying and pasting something into ChatGPT and ask it to rewrite it for you in a particular tone, or as if you were a particular business or someone you admire. And believe me, I've used this feature more than once. One of the primary functions of Copilot in Word will be able to also provide suggestions and correct spelling and grammar as you type. And you'll be able to ask it to reference or query other documents as part of that task. And you can make those documents or make the document you're producing look like or follow the same format or template of another document you've previously produced. And the ability to get ahead is one of the real kind of key benefits of Copilot. You can open up PowerPoint and ask it to create a presentation based off of a Word document or a proposal that you've produced in OneNote, and you have created, anything that you've kind of created. It will basically take a whole set of unstructured notes and ideas, and really kind of give them some kind of structure, whether it be in an email, as a summary, or in a presentation, or as a Word document. With Excel, you can ask it to analyze a complete set of data and tell you what it sees, and then still have the ability to drill down on what those results are. You can tell it to create charts, based off the output of those, and put those charts in an email for you. If, like me, you use Teams for most of your meetings, and Teams transcribes all of the meeting conversation, you'll be able to use Copilot to summarize the meeting, highlighting key points and who said what. And also, it will even flag up any questions that were unanswered during the meeting. With Outlook, it will summarize long email threads, write a suggested response for you. You can ask it to reference other documents or resources, e.g. price lists, and even ask it to shorten or lengthen the response, or ask it to turn your reply into a poem. I guess that's exciting enough. So I was thinking about this, and so from this point forth, in verse I'll reply, no mundane words or plain text to convey. I shall embrace poetry in every word I say. And thank you to ChatGPT for helping me with that little bit of prose. Yes, I should probably also quickly mention that when we send out the link with the recording to the webinar, we'll include the link to a Microsoft YouTube playlist, which provides a 1 to 2 minute introduction to how Copilot with all of these 365 products, but also again, I've kind of taken just the ones that are the most commonly used, but there are some others as well. Okay, the next thing I want to look at is how this works with CRM, and in particular, starting with the three main customer engagement modules of Dynamics 365. And here, since QGate, we focus on sales, marketing, customer service. Let's begin with sales as essentially the heartbeat of any business. And sitting within a frame in your CRM, Copilot will make suggestions on what you might want to see. If you're looking at an opportunity, it will ask you if you want to summarize all the activity on the opportunity to date. Now, this is especially useful if you have multiple buyers and multiple stakeholders, you have either complex or lengthy sales processes, or there is a large amount of collaboration on deals, and someone just wants to get a snapshot view of, without having to go into every note or stored email thread. This might also be very useful for preparing for a meeting. And this will work with a lot of the out-of-the-box fields in the CRM, such as sales stage, status, estimated close date, projected or estimated revenue, and what products they're interested in. There is, as I mentioned, also a feature that's marked as prepare for a meeting, which summarizes the key points from notes and emails and includes what's been discussed as requirements, your suggestions, costs, and timelines as well. It will also bring in searches from the internet on an account and pull in new or key news updates into the CRM, so you can see those alongside your client account information. It also links all the apps you use within the CRM, so whether you're working in Word or Outlook, you can link content within the CRM. So if you've just completed a Teams meeting, you can get a summary of the meeting, which you can already do today with Viva Sales, and have that seamlessly updated to the account or opportunity in the CRM. If you're working in Outlook and you use Dynamics 365 today, you'll know that you can use the D365 plugin to automatically track and store emails in the CRM. Copilot allows you to go so much further and navigate through all the key data linked to a contact in an email, such as the account. You can update the account or the record directly in the Outlook, any opportunities, etc. If you receive an email from a contact that's currently not in your CRM, it will recognize this person doesn't exist in your database, and with a single click, it will create a new inquiry or a new contact, and it will pre-fill in information from their email signature. In Outlook, it will also automatically provide you with a summary of an email with which you can click. You can save that summary onto the CRM as well as the original content email. I know, especially if you've got lengthy email threads and you don't want to, you obviously stored copies of every email, but you want to get a quick summary of what's being discussed. Again, especially if there's multiple people involved in that conversation, it can be very useful. And all of this is really kind of geared towards reducing the amount of manual data entry. If you've received an email, it can draft a reply for you. If the sender is asking for your availability, it can, and they've suggested a certain date or time in their email, it can auto look up your calendar and tell you whether you're free or not, and or not. And if you're not available, it can suggest other times that you are available in the automated email. I don't know if anybody on this call is currently using the Dynamics 365 marketing app in addition to their CRM. And we know this is all about kind of creating customer journeys, customer marketing journeys, and email automation. The addition of Copilot to 365 marketing allows marketers to use natural language to create customer segments. So I say I want to send an email to all of the contacts in my database or in my CRM that participated in one of our webinars in the last 6 months and are based in London and are a decision maker. Copilot will automatically create those filters for me and create that new segment. And I can fine tune that, or what I mean by decision makers, and include specific job titles, etc. Now, say I want to create an email for that audience segment. Marketing Copilot will offer suggestions not only on content ideas, but calls to action, but also offer to customize the tone of the message, be it lively, engaged, formal, or adventurous. I've yet to see what those actually look like in reality, but again, those are just some of the options for the actual tone of the message. Now, hopefully by now, you're getting an idea of where Copilot comes into its own. So when I move on to the customer service app, you can already get a sense of how AI is going to help. It's about automatically generating responses to inbound emails based on internal responses, which might be documents, it might be FAQs, knowledge articles, and responses to similar emails or inquiries that anybody in customer service may have received, and also be able to reference the client account in the CRM, the products they buy, the support contract that they currently have, the service level agreement in place, and whether the inquiry is from someone with a known issue or not. And instead, with a single click, you can generate an email suggesting a follow-up call, request for more information. You can emphasize with the client or suggest a fix to the problem. All the agent has to do is review the response, and each response builds the knowledge library. The whole idea is to provide more productive, better support quicker. So, in summary, whatever you're using Copilot for, the main benefits of it will be to reduce time spent on manual tasks, data entry, copying, pasting, drafting, procrastinating, looking for answers, summarizing, and also creating from scratch. So you're not starting with a blank sheet of paper every time. From a creativity perspective, it's potentially bringing a fresh new perspective to how your business communicates with customers, how it communicates with prospects, using AI to generate email replies, proposals, campaign emails, newsletters, and customer support responses. And really about when I talk about upscaling here, essentially for me, the whole point of this is to give your employees and team members the opportunity not only to learn new skills using AI, but also to put into practice the ones that you employed them to do, whether that again be building trust, building relationships, looking for creative solutions, or growing your business. Okay. I guess this is where I want to bring in Yaz, who's obviously been keeping an eye on your comments, your feedback, and any questions you have. Yes. Firstly, I guess, did anybody have any thoughts or feedback or responses to how they use ChatGPT at the moment?
Yeah, we've got a few here. So the first one from Ben McGregor, he said, I've had a play with ChatGPT in my free time, but I've not integrated it into work just yet. Martin Davies, I've used it to create some marketing text as well as outlining a scope document for a new finance system. I use it quite a lot to kind of, I won't get ChatGPT to write the document for me, but I'll get it to kind of outline the document, like the content, like the format, and then maybe kind of subheadings, etc. Because I think when you get it to write, from my experience anyway, it depends, I think, what prompts you use, but I think it can sometimes kind of repeat itself and sounds quite robotic. So you definitely, I think, needs a bit of human writing as well. Mike Allison, I use ChatGPT to write the T's and C's for an offer we're currently running.
Okay,
And
that's
he's
a good
put
one.
the link. Yeah, so he's put the link to the offer in there as well. Rachel Bell, I used it for a GDPR presentation. Mike Allison, again, is it possible? So we've got a question here.
Okay.
Which links? Is it possible for AI to critique a website?
Yes. Now, I know that it's not something that ChatGPT does, but I am aware of tools that I've come across. Certainly on LinkedIn, none of them jump up to mind at the moment. But yes, because obviously one of the limitations of ChatGPT is that it doesn't do an online search, but I'm pretty sure there are. Actually, that might be a good takeaway question for our marketing agency, actually.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, but yeah.
I think
So
that's a really good question.
yeah, that's a very good question. I know that there are aspects of the Microsoft AI or Bing AI that people have suggested for providing a review of your LinkedIn personal page,
Yeah.
etc. Yeah, good. Okay, is that all of them?
We've got a couple of questions.
Okay.
So like 2 people have asked about costs,
Right.
which is I'm
Yeah.
sure what a lot of people are thinking and
Okay.
very important.
Yeah.
So
No, it's obviously a very valid question. I don't have a huge amount of detail on cost at this stage. Microsoft have obviously wanted to ensure that Copilot has the opportunity to be vigorously tested in controlled environments before their general launch. And the kind of figures that I've kind of seen being discussed are $30 per user per month, in addition to what licenses you currently have for 365 and Dynamics 365. And I've seen kind of various people talk about these costs being prohibitive, but the way I look at it, if it's going to reduce the amount of time you spend on manual tasks by more than, say, an hour a week, then that's a worthwhile investment. And I think the impact is going to be a lot more. I've seen some data just quite recently based on something like the first 10,000 salespeople using Dynamics Sales Copilot, and something like 80% claim to have reduced the amount of time using Copilot spent on manual tasks. And yeah, I know just since I've started using ChatGPT to help me structure presentations and research content and put that content into some kind of format for a webinar such as this, I think it's reduced the amount of time I spend on a webinar from 3 days to about a day and a half. And that's using a free resource, and I still have to do quite a lot. It doesn't understand the context of what I'm trying to do.
no.
Okay, perfect. Is there any other questions or feedback?
Yes. So Martin, I hope that answers your question first of all. So yeah, another one from Ben. So how much of a creative advantage can AI bring? It seems to be very useful for saving time on manual tasks, but as marketers, is there a ceiling on the creativity it can provide?
Okay, I think the biggest benefit for me is, and again, I'm not a marketer, so I might need to push this question back to you, Yas, is that what it does away with is starting with a blank sheet of paper. And sometimes I know that when we're kind of researching a blog article or a webinar idea, that you could be browsing a dozen or so websites, collecting lots of different information in terms of what the key issues, key problems, key solutions are. And what I find the AI tool is very useful is to summarize that and give me a set of key bullet points to start with, and that can sometimes be more comprehensive than what I can find online. I think that the limitations are still there in terms of the creativity, but I think that's improving.
It's learning constantly from everything. Yeah.
And again, I guess from a creative perspective, you use it probably more than I do.
Yeah, I would agree with you, and I would also say, I think I kind of touched on this earlier, but I think in terms of creativity, I use it if I'm kind of stuck, or if I've got like writer's block, etc. Kind of my creativity, I feel I'm not feeling very creative, so I need something to kind of inspire me, and it can give me examples, and it can kind of, give me kind of ideas and starting points.
Yeah.
But I would say, yes, it is definitely limited on creativity, like you said. I think we'll see a change in that. I think what I have been looking at recently is, I know there's tools that you can use that kind of create AI images. So you can put I think Microsoft might have something similar to that, but you can kind of, I think creativity, not in text, but in kind of, I know you can kind of put a prompt in and it will create a video, like an AI video, or like an AI image of something that you've just thought of in your head, and it can create, I think, again, that's still developing, but I think, it's kind of quite scary, some of the things it can do. So I think it will definitely become more creative as time goes on. It's constantly evolving and changing. But
there's a newsletter that I subscribe to called webtools.ai, and I get a daily email of new tools, and I guess a lot of them will do kind of one thing very, very well, whether that be scripting, editing, or generating images, etc. Cool. Okay, before we go, just a quick reminder that we have a page on the QGate website where you'll be able to see the recording of not only this webinar, but also many others, as well as access to our blog library. And you can see some of the titles of our recent webinars on the screen in front of you. We will, as I mentioned earlier, be sharing a copy of the video recording, so keep an eye out for that link. Anyone watching this as a live session recording and you'd like to discuss Copilot or your CRM requirements, then please feel free to reach out to the team here on the email that you see on the screen in front of you. And I just want to thank my colleague Yas for keeping an eye on the chat and questions, and to you all for joining us here today. Thank you, and I hope it's been informative. Enjoy